you ever sit there and write, like, you're going to write a follow-up to them or be that sound, or is it you just let it flow naturally?
That's a big question. People are actually asking me to play in their city.
In their area, yeah. Speak to your local promoters, guys, if you're listening. We need to know what kind of socks you're wearing right now. So if you can put it up to the camera.
I don't know if you can hear them. Yeah, because basically this song is about time, how time is, running away, and we're always trying to
chase it. Yeah. Luca, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really, really appreciate you coming all the way from Italy. I know it's not just for this, but it's an absolute pleasure having you on. I've got to ask the first question, and it's a question I absolutely love hearing, which is, how did you get into dance music? Was it a specific track? Was it a artist compilation, or was it a night out? What genre was it? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was really a journey, to be honest, because when I first got into electronic music was around when I was 16 years old, so more than 10 years ago. EDM was growing. I was more into the electropunk kind of wave because I came from played music, rock and metal. So
we'll get into that later, but I know that you should.
Then when I discovered basically the Tomorrowland After movie, that was mind blowing for me because that was the moment when I realized that, okay, there is not only metal and punk, there is something more. And if I will say, probably the track that really got me into electronic music was Mammoth by Dimitri Vegas and Like
Mike. Yeah.
That track, I'm used to, to play that track a few times also recently because that track is really, I don't know. I mean, with music, it's with art.
I mean, that was such a big time for EDM. I mean, if I think of the word EDM or the genre EDM, like it was Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike, Tomorrowland, main stage. Yeah. I actually went there and saw them myself in 2013. So
nice.
Literally on the wave. So would you say, like, was your taste in that genre for quite a while?
Yeah, I think that, then, I mean, EDM kind of going down in the following years, but that was really the genre that got me. But then EDM evolved a bit because whenever you heard some old track from Martin Garrix, they were a lot more progressive, Also another track that really got me into this genre was Payback by Steve Angello and Dimitri Vangelis and Dimitri Vangelis. That track was really nice, but it was a lot more, prog. There were some epic vibes going on.
Not just big subby hardstyle kicks and high pitched synths. It was a bit more
melodic.
Yes, and epic feeling. Yeah,
instead of Martin Garrix when
animals.
Animals. I mean, I liked the track as well because it was like. The hit literally came out of nowhere.
Oh my God. I remember it so well. Like it was played everywhere. I think I went on holiday.
Even in Italy was played everywhere, which is,
every club on the street, I remember hearing it. So from there, you're making arguably quite a different genre from that. So how did it develop from there? How did you?
I discovered Lane 8 back in 2014, 15. The first tracks by Lane 8 in Anjuna, I think it
was that like Anjuna Deep 07 kind of.
Yeah, maybe I can't remember because they were singles and EPs, so I can't quite remember. But that it basically what Lane 8 basically put everything I was listening back in EDM, slow down a few BPM into a completely new genre. So for me was a mind blow because, if you listen to the old Lane 8 tracks, you can hear a lot of those bass dark bass, dark melodies, but yeah, they were really nice, and I was really captured by that sound.
Hooked by it, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, then I started making something because I started producing something back in when I was listening to EDM, but it really didn't work. And then I start again to making something, but it didn't work again. So, that was really the genre that making me, producing
feel
music.
again,
Yeah.
made you feel again, basically.
Yeah. And now I'm probably inspired by that genre, like the first Lane 8, the first This Never Happened songs.
Yes, and I think it's really important to think about a lot of people you speak to. I mean, the last a few people that I've interviewed about it, it's either trance or EDM. And I think it is literally Tiesto, Suburban Train, like that kind of thing, or it's the EDM wave, which was huge. And like, I wouldn't ever go to that kind of night now, but I think it's like quite a defining feature. Like, you'd probably listen back with like nostalgia and fond memories, even though you wouldn't
a lot.
create
I'm getting older, but those moments are really
important.
Yeah,
you would never forget it. So next question is, I mean, this is what I think, and I think it's not just what I think, but you're on a bit of a roll recently. You've had 4 tracks on the last Colorscape. You've been releasing loads. Obviously, you played the Colorscapes event, which was earlier.
Back in May,
Back in May. So you're obviously releasing a lot of tracks. Is there anything particular at the moment that's inspiring you, or how are you keeping inspired to keep making music and so much of it?
Yeah, that's a tough question in a way, because I'm not that kind of person that really looks for a particular inspiration when I'm making music. It's more about different stuffs, because when I first released music in Colorize back in 2021, that was a really tough period of my life. I was really running through dark days.
Yeah.
And I think that that was really inspiring me. I didn't know it, but I was literally making music.
It was a release without you knowing it was a release.
Yeah. I was really feeling the stuff that I was making. Then fortunately my life is going a lot better recently, so it's more about the process. It's because the first 30 minutes when you're writing, I mean, for me, when I'm writing music, the first 30 minutes, hour, when I feel that track is a pretty nice track, that is like drug for me. It's it has something really that it's really, it's difficult to explain.
I know the feeling. I think a lot of producers do know that feeling, and you can't describe it to someone who's not a producer or making music. And how I'd describe it is, when you've got like, let's say you got kick, percussion and bass, and you got the chords, and then like you play on the piano and you listen back to the melody, and you're like literally sitting there
banging.
That's, if you're not a producer, you wouldn't understand it, but it's almost like everything comes together. So you absolutely love that moment, you live for it.
And then it's what I'm looking basically when I start producing music. Pretty much every day. There are some moments where it's more difficult because art is, it's
subjective. I mean, we were speaking about like time and how you feel like at specific times, and like, are you up or are you down? But I think it's important, from what you've said, whether you're feeling bad or feeling good, you're still making it. You were making it in dark times, and you're also making it now when it's
I think that a really important part of making music is to kind of watch the journey from outside, to see the longer period, because you can have some down period, you can have some really banging up periods, but you really need to be focused on the long term.
And that's what I think is important to ask these questions now, because from the outside, people would be looking and thinking or saying, L.GU is releasing so many tracks, he must be inspired 24/7, but it's just not the case.
It's not. I mean, last year I probably had my biggest inspirational moments around September, October. that was really huge. I made something like 7-8 track in 1 month.
Shit.
Like finished track.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
I was really into a rush.
Were you doing anything else? Were you eating? Were you sleeping?
I was working 8 hours per day. So yeah. But yeah, like this year was a bit different. Like, because even my sound is evolving. So it's like, you know, keeping looking to something new for your music. So I'm always looking to something new. So it's, yeah, inspiration can come or not, but it's you always have to make music. I mean, to keep making music. You know?
Yeah.
It's good sometimes to take some breaks, some breaks, but but yeah, like.
I thought you were going to say make some breaks.
Yeah.
Switch it
also,
out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. You know, the most important part, I think, of making music, it's to feel good with ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, for me, because I mean, my you know, when I'm waking up in the morning, I always think about, I need to feel good. You know, I need to live my best life possible. So I don't want to, you know, just sit down making music into my computer when I don't want to make it, you know.
Yeah, and it's important. I think that's really important to, you know, especially for people listening, if you want to take something away, is you don't have to be that person all the time.
Yeah.
It's okay to actually game for a bit or watch TV if you're feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
But then I think, you know, personally, I see it as well, like sometimes if you're not up for it and you sit and write it, sometimes something good comes out. So
yeah, it's literally, there's not the secret receipt for it. Like I've seen it so many times the last couple of years, like, because when I first started, you know, releasing music, everything was really good. Like labels really signed everything I was sending them. So I was like, yeah, it's really easy, you know. They are singing everything for me. So it's like I need to just sit down here making a track in 2 hours and that's done. I mean, it was not always like that, but then recently it's a lot more complicated. We have a lot more people that are making music, and that's a really good fact. So yeah, recently it's not more like, I'm just sitting down and making music 1 hour and it will happen. So I need to keep doing it, but also to, you know, to be good with myself when I'm not doing it. You know?
Yeah, be fair to yourself.
Yeah,
be absolutely fair to yourself. And I think that actually goes in nicely to our next question, which is, have you ever had a track that personally means a lot to you, that you adore? Did you release it and did people feel the same way about it? Or did they not feel the same way about it?
Yeah, probably my favorite track is Get Out.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite as well.
And also all the other tracks that came out in the first year. So the Armentar EP, the Afterlife EP, those tracks really, I think that when people ask me how your sound is like, I always tell them to go listen to those 3 EPs.
Yeah.
Because I was really, you know, making them with all my
inspirations. You weren't writing for anyone, that was your sound. Because I would, speaking personally, I remember that's when I first started talking to you. Before, I think I met you at ADE, not this year, but last year. But I was talking, and that was at the time when all those tracks were coming out.
Yeah. And it's really cool to see that Get Out reached like 1 million and counting plays on Spotify. So that's really good for me, because I mean, that's a life goal.
Yeah.
To have a progressive house tune that it's over 1 million plays on Spotify and all the other platforms, because there are a lot of other platforms. But also Keep Your Eyes came out last year, and that track is really, I really like it. Those are the 2 tracks that I'm thinking about when people ask me,
what's the L.GU sound?
Yeah. Those are really the 2 tracks.
So you're proud of it, it's personal to you?
Yeah.
Which is really important.
Yeah. And I think that people, they are also the most listened track for me. So I think that people kind of
relate
like
to
them
it,
as
yeah.
well. So yeah, it's really nice to see them as the top 2 tracks.
And do you ever sit there and write, like, you're going to write a follow-up to them or be that sound, or is it you just let it flow naturally?
That's a big question. Because I mean, back in the days, everything I was writing was sounding new and fresh. So I never had that problem. But sometimes when I send track to labels like Colorize or Purified or whatever, it can happen that the A&R ask me to kind of be more fresh with my sounds, to not sound like too similar to that track.
Yeah.
That happened with Get Out because I sent a track that was sounding really similar to Get Out. But that it happened. So I need to. Yeah, I don't know if I'm good to just sit in front of my computer thinking about writing a follow-up.
Yeah. So you don't actually want in your head to be.
Yeah,
writing.
it can happen because I mean I did a collab this year with L.GU, and we are actually doing a follow-up of the track.
Nice.
And it's a really nice track. I'm really proud of it because also Matt did a big job on it.
Yeah.
And we also have a vocal on it, so yeah, I can't probably speak about it that much. But
Yeah, I think
that's one of when I sent that track to Matt, I was like, we need to have a follow up to Rivers because Rivers did really well, and we both liked it.
It's a banger, to be fair. Yeah, it's a banger.
So that was one of the 2 or 3 times that I was thinking about writing a
it was in your head that you had a script for it to write it.
Because I think that my sound and the L.GU sound
complement each other nicely.
Yeah, sometimes, not always, but there are some features that really fit nicely together.
And then I feel like when you do a collab, like you always feed off each other's production, and when someone shows you a production technique, and you're like, that's really cool. Or I'm going to throw this in. I always do this into my Atmos and stuff. I love that. Have you seen this? And then you bounce off each other.
Yeah.
But that actually goes really well into next question as well, which is, I mean, what's next for L.GU? Do you have a vision of where you want to go? Is there a goal in mind in terms of releasing tracks or a sound, or even just to be bigger, playing out more?
Yeah, that's probably my main focus right now, to play more show, because I think that my music really translates into a club. So that's the main goal for the future, playing more show, because I mean, this year I was lucky to play at the Colorize show back in May here in London. Was an amazing experience. Also, that was one of my biggest life goals.
It was a sick night, to be fair.
So thank you. But I mean, I played a few shows in my hometown, so I really hope to, and I'm working for having more shows the next year, and because also people are actually asking me to play in their cities.
In their area, Speak to your local promoters, guys, if you're listening.
So that's the main goal, and obviously keep releasing music constantly, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm good on making music right now. I'm good on, coming here in London, doing this kind of thing. So I'm living my best life possible right now. So I'm good on, keep going.
Yeah. So you're not actually, from the sounds of it, you're very happy and taking the wins rather than thinking I've got to get here, and that's probably makes you more relaxed about it rather than I need to get X plays or I need to get X shows or whatever.
I was like that 2 years ago, but that really made me burn out completely.
So no Tomorrowland main stage, or?
Because I was like, I need to, to live with music, 100%. Like I need to be in tour in 2 years. I need to get a featuring with Ben Boomer or Simon Doty or Yalto in 2 years.
Yeah.
But things doesn't happen like that.
No.
And you only need to, to keep working keep working hard sometimes, not always, like every day, every hour.
Yeah, don't kill yourself doing it.
Yeah.
And like you said, actually, it's funny because that's full circle, because one of the first things you said was enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing, and it's paying off. So, and we are, for those listening, we are fortunate enough to have a breakdown of one of Luca's tracks, which is Time Marches On.
Yeah.
And by the time this podcast comes out, it will be released on Colorize. But yeah, he's going to break it down and just go through some of the elements.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important. If you guys want to watch along, make sure you watch the podcast back on YouTube, because you'll be able to see a screen recording of Luca's project as well.
Nice.
Right, so Luca is good enough to run us through the track. And I mean, obviously it's completely up to you what you break down, but if I'm speaking personally, the things that I would love to hear are your bass lines, because I'm a big fan of your bass lines, how it breaks down. Also, maybe the notation of, you know, like the variation of the melody and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can take a look.
Choose whatever you want first, but...
Yeah, I mean, whenever I do a track breakdown, I always start with bass lines, because I think that's probably the most important element of every track of mine. So yeah, basically right here we have a lot of different layers, which lately I'm not doing that much anymore because I love to choose the right sound from the
offset. Yeah.
But sometimes it's good because you sometimes need that extra bite of something, so. But yeah, right here, I think that it's good to start with all the bass together. So yeah, basically the main bass, which is not my own sound, it's coming from Diva.
Love that synth.
Yeah. And it's...
So this is the sub layer that you've got at the moment?
No, it's the mid bass. Mid-frequency bass. I always split sub and bass.
So even now when you say you're not layering as much, do you still do sub, mid, high, or is it more?
Yeah, lately I'm always looking for a sound that it's sounding good on the full range.
Yes.
Because it sounds more natural in a way. I mean, if you can be the best sound engineer in the world, but when something born good, it sounds good.
Yes.
So, but yeah, if you're good to to mix them together nicely, it's also good to have something. If you take a look at some older project of mine, they have like 10 different
layers. Yeah. One at 50 hertz, and then another like 150.
Yeah, it's like whatever it sounds good. It sounds good, but it's always good to have like one big sound instead of 10 that are doing the same thing. So, but yeah, this one is the main bass. Then we have another layer, which is a Reese bass, pretty much, which is doing the upper octave.
Yes. So you're taking out the lows on this one, and you're letting it. This is a bit the bite, basically.
Yeah. I think they are actually. Yeah, they are similar presets, but yeah, I'm taking out whatever I don't need to this sound.
Nice, very surgical looking EQ. So yeah, for those of you following along on YouTube, which in this part you definitely should, because it's great to see the production process, you're really cutting out every single frequency that you don't need.
Yeah.
And letting it have its own space.
The low end.
Yes.
Like the low end could be really tricky if you don't mix.
Yes, absolutely.
Properly,
kick and bass.
Yeah.
Kick and bass, so
that's
important.
What club music is about. So you really need to have those two elements going through really nicely together. So, but yeah, then I have my own sound, my own, L.GU typical.
The
bass.
secret preset.
Which came through. I filtered it down in the first part of the first drop, and then it slowly opened up.
I love the notation on it as well, because you've got all the notes in the middle. It's not just straight sustain. It's like, dun.
Yeah.
Like you've got all these.
I
before
always
next
looking
phrase.
for movement as well in my
Yes.
bass lines, because I personally don't enjoy that much when you have only 4 notes bass line.
Yes.
But that's a personal thing. I mean, and then I have the sub, but that's only a sine wave, basically made in Serum.
Nice. So very simple low end, which is important in a club. And what's the EQ like on that? Are you cutting out all the highs on that?
Yeah. I'm cutting really hard.
And some resonant
Whatever.
frequencies as well, from what I can see. Yeah. Okay. And is that where, are they just ones that you've just notched out, or are they to make space for the kick?
I quite don't remember why I did it, but there's a purpose for it.
Yeah, but it sounds right.
Yeah, I mean, probably I did it because some notes, I don't know why, I'm not an audio engineer, sounds louder than others. So
Yes.
I turned down the volume a little bit on every single frequency to manage them better. But it's probably something that you can reach without doing this. But
Yes.
again, I'm not an audio engineer.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where, especially with production, is there's a lot of ways to do it, but you've chosen to do that way. Some people will bounce out to audio, and then they will actually change the individual notes.
You can do it very different ways. I mean, there are plenty of ways to do it, but I mean, the final purpose is the sound itself. So
is it right?
Yeah. And then I send all my bass to a bass channel, but I don't really do that much on my bass channel. It's basically compression and EQ.
Yeah, glue it together.
With FabFilter, there is a really nice presets inside of FabFilter, which is mix mud removal. I always use it on my bass line. Yeah,
I've never. Is this in Pro
really
Q3?
nice. Yeah.
And is that looks like it's taking out what, 300 hertz?
Yeah. You can choose different, like 130, 200, 300, 400. I don't know how it does sound that nice, to be honest,
but it works.
Yeah, it really works. It works on left and right channel as well. It does some dynamic EQ.
And I know that you said about layers, but actually when it's on the bus there, you're treating it as one sound. Like really?
Yeah.
Like when you're grouping it together, which is obviously what buses are for, but very simple processing.
Yeah. I'm not that guy that always go through
20 plugins.
Yeah. I'm really not that. I was like that. Like if you take a look at my older projects, they really have like plenty of plugin. I don't even know them anymore. Like I probably have 30 plugin that I don't use in my MacBook. But it's really like when people ask me how to mix music, I always tell them that it's all about choose the right sounds from the beginning, because that is pretty much 90% of the mix. And that you don't start making music and you already know what sounds is good and what sound is not good, but it comes keeping making music and
through experience.
Experience basically. But that's it. I mean, I'm not that guy that used plenty of plugins to mix music.
Save your CPU, guys.
You can see even in my kick drum, there is only a channel EQ, which is doing something.
Cool, just giving a bit of low, bit of high, like you say though, just right sound.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I think I sampled this kick. The best way for you to have a really nice kick is to sample it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I do as well.
Yeah,
it works.
90% of the people do it, so it's not a problem at all. So and then I mean, whenever I choose this kick. I mean, every track has his own channel EQ on it, so it's like every kick sounds different from the kick kick before. So
Yeah,
it's
well, you've
like
got to
you're
make
making
it
your own,
fit the
basically.
track. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So you start with your bass lines, and then where do you go from there?
Well, I think that the second most important element is in this track is my voice, actually, because in this track I actually sing. I'm actually singing, and I really think that it helps to keep the vibes going, and so yeah, I think that it will be good to have a look of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also to the people that are watching / listening, I didn't know that they were your vocals on this track, so this is a nice insight for me as well.
Yeah, I will say that I'm not a singer, but sometimes I like to sing. So, sometimes it happened, sometimes definitely not happened. But yeah, this time works really, I think, really nicely. So yeah, this is my voice.
I mean, it sounds great. You say you're not a singer, but it sounds great. Like, I honestly had no idea, like, it was your voice. So this is really interesting. Play it one more time.
Yeah, I will play it with also the song in the back.
Yeah, go for it.
Then there is the verse 2. Yeah, because basically this song is about time, how time is, running away, and you're always trying to
Chase it, yeah.
And then I did some fancy thing with it, like here. I did some atmospheres with my vocal.
Nice. What are you using for that? Are you using Valhalla Supermassive?
I'm using pretty much all the time Valhalla Vintage Verb.
Vintage Verb, yep, great plugin.
And and some toys like Crystallizer. I use a lot Crystallizer for making atmospheres.
Is that
and
Sound
even
Toys?
Eco Boys. Yeah, Sound Toys.
Yeah.
And also Eco Boys.
Yes.
But those are really great plugin for making things sounds really good. And then I also make these with my voice, which is really helpful. It's like a drum element.
Yeah, it's like a percussive element. It's also variation as well. Like, you can see there the way that the tracks are laid out.
Yeah, the way that I'm most of the time working with my track is to keep them evolving as much as possible.
Movement.
Yeah, the movement is the most important part in music, because you need to have a song moving, in my opinion, over and over until the end. So this is really important. So right here I use my voice. Sometimes I use a synth. Sometimes I could even use a gated pad, like
just even as like if you chop it and put loads of reverb on, and interesting. So, I mean, that's a great bit of insight, like something that I didn't know, and probably something that no one else knew.
Yeah, no one actually knew it.
Yeah.
Even a fun fact: Steve, when was mixing the Colorscape this year, texted me, and he was saying like, "Is this your voice?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And I was scary because I was thinking about maybe Steven didn't like it.
Yeah.
But it was actually really nice.
But it all worked out.
Yeah,
it all worked out.
So I was really, really happy because it was the first time that someone, was telling me that my voice was sounding cool. Actually.
Nice.
So then we have some leads going on.
Nice, this is also an element I really want to hear about. So do you do bass and atmospheres first and then you put the lead in? Or does it vary?
Yeah, it can happen like, I don't know, sometimes I start with a bass line, then I look for a lead, but pretty much all the time I start with a bass line. Then I put a lead on it. And in this case, I was thinking that I was missing something. And I just put the mic on and I record something. And then I actually write something cool to sing on it.
Yeah, nice.
Because I was thinking that it was working quite nicely. So yeah.
And then you've got your lead here. So what have you got a go-to synth for your leads? Like, let's have a listen, see how it...
Most of my music come from Serum and Diva.
Yeah.
Like I will say 80% Diva and 20% Serum. Maybe there is like 1% from Arturia. Sometimes
Pigments.
I like to, I like to go through the Jupiter from Arturia or the Prophet.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time is about Diva and Serum. And yeah, back in the days I was using a lot of Omnisphere as well.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not using it anymore because it's, you have too many sound.
Yeah, it's a preset overload.
You can really lose yourself quite fast.
Sometimes limitation actually helps you to be creative.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is all the leads together. Well, we can listen through here. And yeah, I have a main sounds. Then I had this sound here, which is the main lead.
Brilliant. I really like the delay on that as well. It's good.
Yeah, it's coming from Boy Junior this time. I don't know. Sometimes I use the normal one.
Yeah. I like Junior more personally. But
yeah, I think that most of the time is sounding better.
Yeah.
Instead of the Echo Boy.
And it's less parameters to change as well.
Yeah, I don't know. But then, we have this lead right here, which is helping the main lead to going through, basically.
Yeah, I really like that. It's almost like gated, like...
Yeah, it's something that is helping the track moving.
Definitely.
It's not like a main sound, but it's something that is in the back.
It's like a counter melody to what you've already got. Yeah.
And then I have, this lead right here, but it's more a percussive element, which is moving with automation, cut-off automation here and there, as well as the two leads. But it's not overcomplicated. Again, it's like choosing the right sounds and build something around it.
Yes, and lots of movement as well. And that's something that I'm really seeing here on the project is you've got a lot of automation going on. You're automating parameters, which is what you said is the movement of the track.
Yeah. Always. Like, I'm probably not the best guy on doing automation, even because in Logic it's not that good for automation, but it's a powerful tool for keep things moving with the same sound, basically. And that's a really important part, at least in electronic music, because you can reach really, a lot of movement even only with automation. So that's really nice.
And then, that lead's obviously very powerful. It sits on its own. You've got your bass line, you've got your lead, and then what's the next thing that you normally?
I think that a really nice thing I did here was to have the piano that anticipated the vocal with the same melody. Like, I don't know if.
So it's almost like a call and response.
Yeah, but when the track starts, you can already hear those 3 notes that I'm then singing with my voice, but doing it, I did it with the piano basically. So, it's not working. You can. Which is basically.
And then that so much is on. That makes sense now.
So in the beginning, you heard it. Well.
Nice,
so that's
interesting.
A cool way to let the listener, that something is coming.
Yeah, because it's actually, I mean, although it's the same melodic content, the
Yeah.
timbre is completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like I could even do it with my vocal filtered down, but
yeah,
it will be different. I mean, I really like how this piano is doing the job.
yeah. No, interesting, really interesting.
And then my voice is coming in, so probably your brain will recognize it and say, okay, I really hear this.
Yeah, it's like it's the perfect call and response, really.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Really interesting.
Then I have basically plenty of different atmospheres, which nowadays I will probably never do because they are too much. I have this cool pad that I did in Repro, which is basically, I think,
It's just like a
this
profit.
Repro, it's from L.GU, and it's a really nice plugin.
Oh, they're the same people who do Diva, aren't they?
Yeah. Then it's like a profit, but it really sounds good. It's pretty CPU intense.
Yeah, same as
So you
Diva.
really have to be careful.
Yeah.
But with my M1 MacBook, fortunately, I never had some issues. So, and then I think this one also evolved. In the breakdown, you can see the cutoff going up and up.
Yeah,
and up.
more movement. Yeah, but this
Yeah.
one's obviously a little bit more frequent, the movement. It's not as gradual, so this one's going up and down a lot quicker in succession.
Yeah. It's like about the section.
Yes.
Like here, I think we have the drop. So it's an element that you can't probably hear when the track is playing, but it's definitely there for a reason, And then it's just playing back and forth during the whole track. So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the whole call and responsing of the vocal and piano. Like, yeah, I like it. It's like, and when the vocal comes in, it's like familiar.
yeah.
But they've only heard it 4 bars ago.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that, experience when I'm listening to music, and when I notice that something was due for a purpose.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. No, that's really, really interesting. Then what about, I suppose, again, your last thing is the percussion, really, isn't it?
Yeah, drums. Yeah, drums and percussions. Also with drums, I love to keep stuff evolving during the whole track. Let's hear to the full bass. They are really simple. I don't usually go that mad with drums in general. I just keep stuff again evolving.
Simple, yeah.
Yeah, but there are not. I just choose the right sample from the start, which in this case was this one.
But then that loop in itself has got a lot of movement as well, like, and it's a groove, isn't it?
Yeah, then I added a hi-hat, something that I really like in my track, and I always use a strong and transient hi-hat.
Yes, yeah, so it cuts through the mix. Yeah.
And then I have some other stuff going on.
It's like, that clap almost sounds like a snare as well. Yeah. Very percussive.
I don't like the classic kind of clap. The 808 clap. Like, I really like something that is really short, that really cuts into the mix, But that's it. I'm not. Probably when you're talking about drums, the best guy in this planet is Lar.
Yeah.
Even Max, even MXV.
Yeah, shout out MXV. He's already been on the podcast, and I'd love to have Lara on as well. But that's really interesting. And but like you said, you're not. adding anything for the sake of adding it. And the way I'd describe it is the synth's quite percussive. You've got a melody that's happening, and then you've got these percussion elements that are happening. You could almost say that the frequency spectrum's almost like going left to right of all these sounds.
Yeah.
And it's like it's really filling the sound.
Yeah. It's really what I'm looking for when I'm making music. You know, when I have a strong hook going on, and I really know that that's basically the track. The track is moving around.
Yes.
That element.
Yeah.
I know what to do. I mean, in this track I have 65 channels, but 10 are about vocals, but nowadays I actually have 40.
Yeah, so
40 to 50.
Like you were saying earlier, you have really kind of cut down. It's like one sound fits all, and so maybe now you'd have like what, 2 bassline elements as opposed to...
1 or 2. It kind of depends if I have my own bass sounds or not. You know, it really depends. But lately I really like about 1 strong bass, an harp, a lead, maybe some other sounds that are playing back and forth.
5 sounds is all you need.
And then,
Really
I mean,
simple.
drums are really important. So you most of the time need a lot of drums going on, and then some atmos. But probably in this track, I put plenty of atmosphere, which I probably didn't need all of them. I mean,
Well, you say you didn't need, but the track came out at that time. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And it worked at the time. So
yeah,
roll with it.
that's it. That's the most important part. I mean, you still, you need something that sounds good. Whatever it sounds good, it sounds good.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the main thing about making music and listening to music.
Excellent. Well, look, Lucas, that was absolutely brilliant. And I think for those of you that have been following along, check out, listen to the track, watch the video and the breakdown. It's really insightful to get to know these things and what you can take for your own productions. So for the second half, I think we're going to ask some more non-dance music related questions. So still music related, but looking forward to hearing your answers on that one. So we'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, so thank you very much for breaking down Time Marches On. I thought that was really, really insightful for me personally, from a selfish point of view. So now there's some more non-dance music related questions. So a little bit more, outside, but maybe we can find out how it shaped your music. So the first one I've got is, what is your favorite non-dance music album of all time? And is there anything that you try and take from that and put in your own productions?
I will say that, that's really tough to pick, because it's, I've listened to too many genres and too many artists in my entire life. So it's really tough.
I appreciate it's a very broad question.
It's probably And Justice for All by Metallica.
Nice.
That album really, Metallica in general are probably why I'm making music today, and also back in the days. But that album really has something weird.
It's done something to you. It's really inspired you.
That album really did something to my brain, to my mind, to my body, to everything.
Just really took you over. And for those listening as well, I think we need to know what kind of socks you're wearing right now. So if you can put it up to the camera.
I don't know if you can hear them. But
they are Metallica socks. So that really says it all.
It's falling.
So, oh God, we don't want that. Keep the product placement. So Metallica, obviously, your past inspiration was in rock. So what kind of stuff do you take from them in your own productions, do you think?
Well, I will probably say that power chords, when you play guitars in metal and rock and punk, one of the most important part is power chords, which I think translate nicely into my own bass sounds character, like those boom, boom. I think that's, I came up with it recently thinking about it. I was thinking about, I don't know why I'm like not the only one making this kind of sound, but there are not that many artists out there making, those big bass steps.
Yeah.
And I think that, when I was listening to a breakdown of a really strong metal track, I can't remember, and I was saying, that's probably why.
Where you get it from, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? And like, although you can like break it down now, it probably came into your subconscious without you thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like you were doing that before you even thought about doing that.
Yeah.
You've always gravitated to those sounds because maybe they've got a certain timbre which is reminiscent of Metallica.
Yeah, I mean, the fun fact about music, it's that you always pick something from your subconscious. And in my case, was definitely metal and punk. But I was not thinking about it when I started making this musical genre back in 2020. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. And I think that all the metal and punk rock and, rock that I've listened back in my life really has translated something into dance music right now.
It's just shaped you. It's fully shaped you.
I really think that, it's definitely something has happened, because I also played a lot of different instruments. So it's probably all of them are coming through.
They're all like rearing their head in some way. They're all like, but without you knowing, which is really, really interesting. It's not until you think about it, you're probably getting a bit deep towards it or whatever. But no, that's really, really interesting. And I think it's, I think it's fate that you're wearing the Metallica socks today. maybe you wore them.
It's funny.
Maybe you wore them on purpose. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
So, that's really, really, really insightful. And I think the next question I've got is, and people struggle with this one as well, but favorite film soundtrack of all time?
Interstellar.
That's not the first time someone said it on this podcast.
It was
for good
really
reason.
easy, I mean, Interstellar is my favorite movie of all time. I mean, it's a personal thing, obviously.
It's one of my favorite as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, talk about movies that make you cry when you don't normally cry at movies. Max said the same thing when he was on the podcast, MXV, and I think it's a testament to Hans Zimmer. I saw him recently, and I probably felt the same things.
Live.
Yeah. So what is it about that soundtrack? Like, is there a particular track? Probably the one that I'm thinking of as well, like the.
Dun, dun,
Yeah, super emotional.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was an easy question. There, I know we spoke about it a second ago. Favorite, album of all time, but is there stuff that you try and take from film composers in your own music as well?
Maybe sometimes.
Subconsciously.
Because I mean, Time Marches On actually talk about times and
Hans Zimmer, Time. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably this particular track has something that I take from Interstellar.
Yeah. I mean, that's all about time dilation and.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with life and death and time.
Yeah.
So that film really makes something to my brain that it's probably translating now. It's something that I put into music, and that's really a fact. Yeah, I think, and that's even Inception as well. Like Inception is more about dreams and than that kind of.
But still deep subject matter. Yeah, massively. So you like thought-provoking and deep subject material when it comes to films. Yeah,
even Blade Runner,
which is
that's really deep into that probably the first Blade Runner soundtrack is because when I was a kid, my father literally played it like every day. Like
the Vangelis strings.
And that's probably a big part of my inspiration as well. It's always about subconscious. But that's a really big part of my inspiration as well. That soundtrack is crazy.
It does things, and emotional things as well. Like maybe like you could say that I mean, it's interesting, you know, you've got the obviously more film composer style stuff, you've got the Metallica style stuff, and, you know, if you were to go deep into it,
Yeah.
you know, you could probably break down and pick all those sounds out. So no, that's really interesting. And yeah, the next question is, you know, and you might not be, a lot of producers are, so similar to films, but have you ever been a gamer? And if so, is there a game soundtrack that's your favorite of all time?
I don't know, because I've been a gamer, but I was like a really COD player.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I have to choose a soundtrack, probably from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
That was a really big game.
It's a big game.
And as well, it has a really nice soundtrack. But yeah, I never played. Maybe Skyrim as well.
Yeah, that's not the first time someone said
Skyrim.
this either. So yeah, we've had previous guests say that, and I think we got onto a really interesting subject about immersion and how, you know, production is a form of immersion. So it's like quite all encompassing. Like when you're doing it, you're not doing anything else. And I think it's when people think of game soundtracks and they speak about Skyrim, they are normally the games which are more immersive.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, naturally,
Skyrim was definitely an immersive game.
Yeah.
I saw too many people played with it, like hundreds of hours.
Hundreds and hundreds of hours. But yeah, like it's, you know,
it's like 12 years ago or
I know,
something.
but it's got longevity, like, and that is a form of immersion. It's a form of escapism as well, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as producers or creatives, we all like to have a form of escapism, which is why people turn to it. And it's interesting that the games that people are into are similar time sinks.
Yeah.
Let's call it a time sink, because I'm sure we've all wasted many hours in Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, lately I've played a lot to Fortnite, because it's
nice.
Yeah, the
OG Fortnite. Yeah.
You know. I had some crazy good days with the boys, because we're all coming back.
Oh, it's a social thing as well. Yeah, nostalgia always wins.
Yeah, and so I'm really, happy about it, because it's only 1 month. So for this month we all came back. We are playing like hours every day. Nice. But it feels great. It feels like we are coming
back home. Yeah, it's the same. Like when I hear the Halo 3 soundtrack, and when they did the remastered, I started playing it again, and it was like, your kids. No, that was also a really good answer. So, yeah, this next question is, be as controversial as you like or not. Is there anything about the music industry, electronic music industry, that you're not comfortable with, and if so, why?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
I mean, music business sometimes feels about to be in a marathon.
Yes.
Somehow. And so obviously you have the most talented people in this world, which will probably be those guys that are always first and second and third in the marathon. But, marathon is a long
game.
Yeah. So sometimes it really feels that someone is really running through and you can't see him, and it's the number one position, like in 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And then I can also see some artists right now that came up from nothing, from nowhere, that are playing big shows or releasing music, which is, I don't know, that's a personal thing, not that big. Label.
So you think there are, from what you're saying, there are people you think deserve to be here to stay, and maybe they're not appreciated as much long term.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's me that I'm not seeing things like as good as they are. But yeah, I definitely feel that sometimes it's a kind of rush, and yeah, you really have to be focused on your goals, because it's pretty easy to get
lost in the noise. Yeah. And would you say or how I'm interpreting it, are you saying there's a lot of people who deserve to get more exposure who aren't as a result?
Yeah, maybe, and also I saw some people that are getting there with no reasons.
Yeah.
And yeah, that hurts a bit because I mean, as me, as you, we are spending a lot of time making music, making things working.
Yeah, and making personal sacrifices.
I'm working 8-9 hours per day, 5 days in a week. So it's hard sometimes to see, people that are getting there. I don't know how.
Overnight, seemingly.
Yeah.
And you
also, music nowadays, it's all about algorithms. So algorithms on Spotify, you have to keep music uploaded in Spotify because if not, you will lose the algorithms.
Yeah, you get lost. You get lost in the noise, literally.
Yeah, even in Instagram, it's kind of different, but it's all about algorithms also there. Yeah, those are definitely things that I kind of don't like. I mean, it's part of the game. We have to accept them, but yeah.
You got to play the game.
I need to be, serious about telling you that there are something that I don't like.
Yeah.
Nowadays, but it is what it is. I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the environment. So,
yeah. Got to play the game. You got to play the game. No, I thought that was a really good answer. And it's especially with the artist not deserving it sometimes. I think it's important to champion the artist wherever possible who deserves it, which is why, doing this podcast, part of the reason is I want to champion the people who should be championed. And it's about fellow musicians speaking out about each other and, bigging each other up where possible, shouting out names. So, which leads on to my next question, which is, who are your producers to look out for in 2023 and 2024?
I will say probably my favorite producer in our kind of environment is Lar nowadays, because he's, I don't know, he, Max also told you that we have a WhatsApp group. And
yes, the AD
Matt,
boys.
basically, Matt is sending like 2 tracks every week, 2 or 3 tracks every week, and they all sounds good. Like 99% of them sounds good. He already has some release in Nanjuna Beats, plenty of release, also in Colorize, 03. And I think that, he's working fully music, so he has a lot of time to put into music. I will say that's my name to watch out in next year. And even, I think, Wilde.
Yeah, shout out, Jules.
Doing really, I can definitely see him evolving and his music evolving as well.
Yeah.
He's doing his new label things.
Yeah, shout out Jules and the new label, by the way.
Yeah.
I think...
last single with Laura and Lyman was...
Yeah, brilliant. And he's doing he's doing his own thing. So
yeah, he's growing even on YouTube and Discord, and he's growing.
The community as well. I think it's really important. He's got his own community, his own followers. So yeah, no, that's great. And then, is there anyone else you've got your eye on? Or?
I mean, there are plenty of guys that are doing a great job. Even Max is doing like a side project even with that singer, which is really nice. Even the other guy from our WhatsApp group, Banati, is really pushing it. He has some really nice track with some great vocalists going on with. I mean, they're all doing great.
Good stuff. Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out everyone from the AD boys, which I believe is what Max said.
Once again.
Once again, that's the second time they featured on the podcast. So
that's a really important part of that. I mean, for me.
I mean, you got shouted out in the first podcast because I've got a lot of tracks to send you actually, which is something outside the podcast. But
looking forward to them.
I've always sent you stuff for feedback, and we were talking about how critical feedback's really important. Not being critical for the sake of being critical, and not praising for the sake of praising, but being honest with each other. And I think that's what it's good. Not being afraid to be honest. Point out the flaws of a track. Can this do better? Can this Can you change this? I don't think this works. Because then you don't spend the time in your head thinking, does it work? Does it not? If you send it to someone or two people and they both say the same thing, you should probably chuck that bit because it's shit.
Yeah, and if they are not saying it, probably you're not seeing the problem as well.
Yeah.
So it's even bad.
Yeah,
worse.
everyone's got each other's backs.
Yeah, I remember when I first sent track to my first mentor in this environment was Gyro, actually. And he really helped me back in the days because he was the only one guy that gave me critical,
telling you what you needed to hear rather than what
critical.
you wanted
Yeah,
to.
and that really helped me a lot, like really, really a lot. So yeah, you need to be, you need to send track over to, to people that you really know that are honest with you.
Yeah.
You don't have to send track to 10 people, 10 different people, because you don't need it.
No.
You need actually true free feedback for, like, if you want.
I'm interested to see what you will say to mine now. Maybe all 10 will go in the bin. Who knows? But yeah, that, and I would love to carry on. Honestly, it's been brilliant. I've learned a lot in this podcast.
Thank you.
And I hope that everyone listening, like I say, you should definitely follow along the production on YouTube if you're into that. But yeah, the final question is, what do you think is going to be the genre of 2024? And the reason I ask is because I feel like every year, everyone says everything. 5 years ago, people were saying techno, and techno got really big. It was like Amelie Lenz and all those people, and then that went down. So what do you think is going to be the genre? And yes, you can name melodic progressive house.
I don't really know, to be honest, because I live in a small town in Italy, so we don't have clubbing. So I don't really hear any type.
But you make club music.
Yeah.
The guy who doesn't go clubbing in his hometown.
2023 was the melodic techno year.
Yeah.
Like
I agree
Anima
with that.
really pushed it through the limit. Like it's now mainstream probably.
Yeah, definitely. The number of plays you get.
Yeah, I will say that nowadays when I hear to music, and also the few times I went clubbing this year, I hear a lot of house music, like the Korg M1 piano, the Korg M1 organ.
I've got something to show you after this.
So
actually.
I don't know, something related to house music.
Yeah.
In some way. I don't know where.
But like old
Specifically,
school house,
but-
proper house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something related to that, like deep house. I don't know. Simon Doty and Marsh are doing that kind of switch.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely more housey now.
Yeah.
And I would say there's trance elements in there.
That's my personal,
Yeah. I mean, it's a good answer. That's what we're looking for.
I will probably 2024 would be about dubstep and drum and bass.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Which someone else mentioned they think drum and bass is finally going to have its time.
Yeah, I hear someone tell me that in London drum and bass is definitely a thing lately.
It's always been there, but I think, I have heard people talk about that as well. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. It'll probably be a genre we've never heard of. Maybe something else comes out.
Yeah.
It'll be like a dubstep 2.0 and it lasts for a couple of years and then, and then that's it. But honestly, Luca, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
That's okay. And guys, look, check it out online. Make sure you follow us. You can follow at Wilde Music 1, or you can follow your Instagram handle, which is?
Yeah, I am _L.GU.
_L.GU. And just follow and share where you can. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was really funny.
It's been good fun. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And stay tuned.
Cheers.